What if Rust was medieval? Well, it might look a bit like this. Renown is a multiplayer survival experience set in a vast and ever-changing medieval world. Players begin with nothing, gathering resources, building a kingdom and fighting to survive in the hopes of becoming renowned across the land. Think of it as an open-world Rust-type game, surviving with other players or on your own, creating teams, creating enemies, building bases, houses, towns, kingdoms, and castles, before training, using blacksmiths to make weapons and armor, giving them to soldiers and taking them to war, riding on horseback as an archer or a footman, even using and building siege weaponry such as battering rams and trebuchets. Yes, I am so excited for Renown. It should be coming from 2022 to 2023, but with no official release date so far. Yet from some of the dev blogs that we have been shown, it is coming along nicely, and as a little sneak peek, I have in fact played the game somewhat already. Graphics-wise, it looks spot on. In terms of optimization, what I've played in the very early builds, it works absolutely fine, especially when you have people on the server. Now, in terms of server bandwidth, there can be some issues because of the early nature of what they've got so far in their basic multiplayer, but when the final release comes out, I'm sure that will be completely fixed. But what about combat? That's always an important experience with medieval games like this. Well, as you can see, the gameplay is a massive mix between Rust on the surface with its survival, crafting, hunting, and open world, but also the in-depth combat of a game like Mordhau. First person, bloody and gory. Right, left, up, downward swing, stabs, kicks, blocking, parrying, using different weapons for different techniques, being able to switch weapons to different modes depending on whether you're fighting armored or unarmored opponents, depending on whether you need sharp or blunt damage and force. Whilst it looks fantastic in the actual gameplay, playing it as well feels great. Does it feel quite as flowing as Mordhau just yet? Not quite, but it is getting there, and they have said that they are hiring a professional animator to take it to that next level. Yes, what you can see so far is not the final phase of the combat. It gets even better than that. But looking into some of the multiplayer gameplay that we've been shown, everybody seems to be working pretty well on the basic servers so far. As mentioned, they aren't perfect just yet, but even in the early state they're in, you're still able to have pretty good battles and fights. Now, bear in mind that this is only for testers and people that have been able to get in on the ground early, so there isn't a full public release you can get your hands on just yet. But the grass, the foliage, the landscape, and the blood look amazing, blending in well with this medieval era and making a really immersive open world that you're going to be able to play with. Not only the terrain of natural causes, but also things like palisades, spikes, wheels of wagons, and of course moving on to some of those siege weaponry. Siege weaponry can be battering rams, it can be trebuchets, it can be siege towers, used for gaining that step up in ability upon your enemy. There is also catapults, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more in the future. So far, it has to be built by craftsmen that you'll have to get the resources for in that Rust type open world. So when you're gathering resources, how does this come about? Well, we've had a little bit of an exclusive gameplay at things like mining rocks, chopping down trees, and finding iron veins in order to gain the materials you need to take it to the next level. Using furnaces, crafting benches, and carpentry workstations in order to build things like better armor, weapons, but also upgrade your towns and cities. Tanneries will be used for getting better clothes, and of course, those beautiful banners and sigils that you'll be able to see your clan's colors on. Building up palisades to stone walls in order to have better defenses. Of course, the bigger your clan, the faster this will happen. Being able to get massive cascading walls to deter any bandits or neighboring clans. Now, one thing might worry you. There's been a massive talk about the balance between fun and realism. A game like Life is Feudal went too far in the realism way. Chopping down trees would take forever. Planting and waiting for them to grow would take literal real-life days. I've spoken to the devs about this, and they've said that that's not the direction they want to go. They want to make it fast-paced and fun, but including some basic realism as well to keep it in line with what history buffs like us really enjoy. So on that note, let me leave you with a small montage I've put together with some of the gameplay and exclusive stuff that I've been shown in order to give you a better idea without my annoying voice over the top. But of course, I will be keeping this channel very much updated on the development of Renown.